most things that are labeled spiced rum or flavored rums in the market, they start with a unaged spirit, a spirit that just comes off the still, and they flavor it with flavorings and sugar, and it's basically made as a mixer. This is the base of this is mostly a 10-year-old aged rum that is then we have infusions and extractions of ginger, cinnamon, clove, allspice, guava, a lot of indigenous flavors, and we gently sort of support the taste that already exists in the rum and the flavor of the oak barrels. It's created this spirit that has a really deep flavor, something you could just drink on its own.
Hey, it's Miami's Hip Hop and R&B 103.5 The Beat. Papa Keep the People's Voice in the building. My very special guest representing the mighty Sparrow Rum, Spice Rum. We got Mr. Lane Steinberg in the building, and of course, the brand guy himself, one and only Asa. Sealy is also here with me, and we are here to talk about the mighty Sparrow Spiced Rum, man. I'm so excited about it. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Keith, for having us.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to start by telling a little story because I was invited to an amazing dinner by you, Asa, um, to be introduced to the Mighty Sparrow Spice Rum brand. Of course, you and I coming from Trinidad and Tobago, Mighty Sparrow, we have a level of connection to him as an amazing soca artist who has been, I would say, the original king of soca or calypso. I would say, uh, from the beginning of time of the music. So I definitely wanted to get us together and be able to lend a platform to talk about, this special opportunity. And I would have never learned about it if you didn't invite me to that dinner, Asa. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to make the big connection here.
Well, for me, it was a opportunity that came when I met these two gentlemen a while back at the Trinidad and Tobago consulate, and at that time they were speaking to me about this product that they were developing, this juice as we refer to it. And some time passed, and didn't hear from them for a bit, and then lo and behold, I got a call and said, "Hey, you remember us? We have that juice." And I'm like, "Yes, I remember you guys. How could I forget Sparrow?" So having that connection to Sparrow, and then being able to taste this XO spiced rum, I was like, "Yeah, you guys onto something here." And yeah, the rest is really history. I got an opportunity to come on board and assist with, rolling out the brand in South Florida. In one of our brainstorming sessions, they're like, "Hey, we want to put together an intimate dinner where we get to pair the rum with a few Caribbean dishes." And we tossed around some venue locations, ideas to host the dinner at. And, we decided on, a venue that would be on par with the level and experience that you would get when you taste this liquid, this rum. And after identifying Last Lap Miami as that venue, we were like, they're like, Asa, you need to connect us with some influential people in the markets that could appreciate this. And Papa Keith is at the top of that list. Without fail, I had to reach out to my brother, not because of your radio presence, and but more so about who you are as a person. Really appreciating culture and being an ambassador for Brand Caribbean in the US from the time that we have first met. You've always been an advocate for everything of quality, and elevating how we as Caribbean people are seen in the US. So it went without fail, me putting you on that list and saying, "Hey, Keith, come out and thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come out to that dinner. That Lane flew in from New York, and he has a very interesting story about how this whole brand was born. And coming out to South Florida that night, Lane made his way down here with Lenny, the other owner, to meet with some of the influencers, and we
Big
had
ups
an
to
amazing
Vanessa
night.
James. Big up to
Yeah, we had an
Vanessa
amazing
James. Big
night.
up to Nikki Mohan. Big up to
Sizwisi,
Sizway. I mean,
Dev,
yeah, you had, yeah,
Casely, some restaurant owners were out there.
yeah,
We just
man.
put a handful of, two handfuls of of people that could appreciate what we were bringing to the table, because Mighty Sparrow XO is something really special. And a continuation of the contributions that we as Caribbean people make in the US. So I'm really proud to be part of the process here, and excited to be on this call with you. And I want to hand it over to
Absolutely.
Lane, though, because Lane's story is crazy on how Sparrow and Lane got involved. So you know
Well, Lane, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you, Lane. I had the pleasure of meeting you at the event. Again, thanks again for putting this together, powering it with the help of Asa to get us all involved and give us that opportunity
Sure.
to taste the mind-blowing liquid, right? And also to have a great meal and the pairing. We really appreciate it, Lane, and I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone who was there. But yes, like Asa said, I know the story, but I would love for you to tell my audience a story about how this white man from where New York hooked up with the
Right,
Mighty
right, right.
Sparrow
It's the
and
most, it's the
has
most,
this rum.
it's the most unlikely story. It really is. I'm a musician. I've been playing for decades, and I have a huge interest in all types of music. And at some point when I was younger, I heard a few tracks by Mighty Sparrow, early tracks, stuff he did from like the early 60s. And I was just so taken by it. I said, there's just nothing like this. And I tried to hunt down his albums, and it was the hardest thing. It was like a detective. I'd go into Queens, I'd go into Jamaica, I'd try to scour through bins. And then when eBay came alive and all these albums were suddenly available, I just bought everything. And I just made Sparrow my musical quest. I just said, this guy is one of the great geniuses of 20th century music. He doesn't sound like anybody else. He's just brilliant. And from Sparrow, I got bitten by the bug for all calypso and Trinidad music, early stuff from Duke of Iron, Lord Invader, Lord Kitchener, Mighty Spoiler, the whole real roots of Caribbean, Trinidadian especially calypso. So, I was playing, and I had realized that Sparrow lived very close to me. Sparrow lived in Queens, New York, lives in Queens, Forest Hill. I live in Forest Hills. He's in Jamaica. I think, man, I would love to just go over there and just knock on his door and say hi. And I was just like, for 5 years, I would drive by and say, nah, I can't. I couldn't get up the courage. And one day I got up the courage. I knocked on his door, and we just started, talking a little bit. And, I was a fan, and he sort of respected me as a fan. And I went over a few more times. And then one time I went over with my guitar, and something changed because I started playing some of his old songs like Benwood Dick and May May and Gene and Dinah. And he was really like, who is this white boy who knows all my music, and knows all the lyrics? And we just sort of formed a friendship because we have sort of a similar sense of humor, and we just became like pals. Concurrently, I was working in the spirits business for a long time, and I had noticed early on that there was sort of a hole that there was in the spirits, on the spirit shelf. You had spiced rum, and but it was only like two brands. It was mostly Captain Morgan, which is sort of just a mixer, and it's not a brand of any sort of integrity. It's not something that you drink by itself. And I said, what if you had a XO rum, a basic, a really good quality aged rum, and you added flavoring to it? And it was something in the back of my head. Same time, I had a friend, good friend, dear friend, childhood friend, Leonard Dorfman, who he's a commercial director. and he directed for all sorts of major Fortune 500 companies. And he was really intrigued by this whole story. And we had gotten an option to do a sort of a from Hollywood from a couple of people who wanted to do sort of a biopic of Sparrow, like in the same vein that they did the Ray Charles Ray movie with Jamie Foxx, because they thought it was such a great story. We were in talks with them. Then sort of COVID happened, things sort of fell apart there, and my friend Lenny and I were together one day. He goes, this is such a great story. This story could be told through a rum. We could use that as a springboard, to tell this amazing story of this unique individual that came out of Trinidad and just sort of put calypso music and then soca music on the world map. He was the first guy to break out and tour the world and be like an ambassador for this music. So one thing led to another, and we started meeting people, and we got deeply into developing this very special product that we think is just on another level. We've just had I mean, I sort of left out a part in the middle that I've played with Sparrow a bunch of times. I formed a band with him, and we played in Lincoln Center and the Public Theater in
Wow.
New York. I went to the
Mm.
British Virgin Islands with him. I went to London with him. And so we've had this real rich musical partnership as a foundation for this really great spirit brand. We want to expose Sparrow's music to a greater audience and have have a spirit that really honors him, that has the integrity and the quality of something that matches his legacy and his music.
Man, that's such an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. I mean, it's like these unlikely stories and how it can circumvent such an amazing opportunity to now bring a product to market, based off of that experience, being such an
True.
incredible story. Let's talk about the spice rum and what makes it so special. I mean, Asa, you could jump in as well.
Well, I'll just briefly start, and I'll just say that most things that are labeled spiced rum or flavored rums in the market, they start with a unaged spirit, a spirit that just comes off the still, and they flavor it with flavorings and sugar, and it's basically made as a mixer. This is the base of this is mostly a 10-year-old aged rum, Trinidad rum, that is then we have infusions and extractions of ginger, cinnamon, clove, allspice, guava, a lot of indigenous flavors, and we gently sort of support the taste that already exists in the rum and the flavor of the oak barrels. It's created this spirit that has a really deep flavor, something you could just drink on its own. You don't have to mix it. You can mix it, but it's just delicious just over ice, as you saw yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and taste it, and
Yeah.
taste it. So, how can people who are hearing this story support and buy the rum, get an opportunity to taste it? What are the next steps now for engagement?
Well, if you want to get the product, you can. There's first and foremost, there's the online option, right? You can go to the website and you can purchase directly on the website. We also are in a handful of locations in South Florida, which also those locations can be found on the website and on our Instagram and social media pages. And then also we will be at a number of upcoming events throughout the South Florida community, some signature events. Again, I would urge everyone to visit the website and our social media pages,
MightySparrowRum.com.
MightySparrowRum.com, both on and you get the connection there. But there's an opportunity there for this rum to really be something special, not just for yourself, but for you to share with others. Right? It connects you to the Caribbean. And when you get an opportunity to taste it, it's again something really special.
No, absolutely. A lot of times, when you get branded products based on an artist, they're not usually that good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, to actually get a product that is branded by a legendary artist and it actually tastes good, and I'm obviously talking from my own experience, it's really something special. So I just want to, congratulate both of you and your other partner who's not here with us at this moment on really, you guys having the foresight to, put this to market, to honor Sparrow in that way. I always felt like he has never truly gotten the gold roses that he deserved for, all that he's accomplished. So, this, is a step towards that. And hopefully people see this and, get more involved with the legacy of the mighty Sparrow, an artist that I grew up listening to with my father playing him, in the household and stuff like that, knowing how legendary he was and how huge of a figure he was in the music industry for Trinidad and Tobago. So, again, Lane, you and your partner, thank you for doing that. And of course, teaming up with Asa, the brand guy, to really get the word out about this and giving me the opportunity to connect and have my audience find out about this. And again, it's near and dear to me as well, with both of my parents of Trinidadian descent.
Great to hear. That's a great story, and Ace has been a phenomenal connection into the community for us, and a huge help.
That's what's up. Asa, any last things you'd like to say or like to have anybody know? I know it's
Well,
MightySparrowRum.com, right?
MightySparrowRum.com is where you could find all of the information. Connect with us on socials. Um, uh, you know, Purchase your rum, repost your pictures, tag us online, hashtag Be Mighty, and look out for us on at the next event. I believe the next major event that we're going to be at is at Food, Wine, and Fet, May 16th at Virginia Key Beach. We'll have a pop-up installation there where we're going to be providing samples to all of the attendees. So if you're not going to Food, Wine, and Fet, I suggest you get one of those last-minute tickets to come and sample the product. Or as you visit the website, we're going to be announcing samplings that we're doing at the retail locations that are carrying the brand. And we invite you to come out and meet with us there. There's either myself, one of the owners are going to be on site. So you're going to get an authentic experience and be able to really appreciate what we appreciate so dearly, not just the music, not just Sparrow, but now we have the juice that goes along with it, complimentary. So looking forward to seeing this brand grow in the market. South Florida is just the launching pad, but we expect this brand to be a national product in most of the diaspora communities, and just happy to be aligned with it.
Well, I'm going to give you guys two things right now, one for each of you. I'll start with you, Asa. Asa, I'm doing an all-star Caribbean weekend, the last weekend in June. I'm going to be doing Patrice Roberts, Allison Hines. I have Major Hype coming in town for
Since we're
a comedy
seeing,
show. Yeah, all of that. All right. So I need you guys that weekend. We'll figure out all the details. But I have 3 events that I'll be doing that are all Caribbean related in honor of Caribbean Heritage Month. So tap me in for the last weekend.
beautiful,
Okay?
Sure.
beautiful.
All right. Lane, I have a special story for you.
Sure.
True story. I just came back from Orlando this past weekend for my sister's wedding, right? And I was walking about from the hotel. I can't keep still. And I found a record store. I went in that record store and I'm old school too. I like records and I have my record player and I'm pulling through and I found a Mighty Sparrow album. I can't even tell you the name of it. I'll hit you off later, Lane, and
Yeah.
let you know. But it's one that opens up. It's young
Mhm.
pictures of Sparrow, and I bought it, and I said, you know what? Next time I see Lane, I'm going to give it to Lane so that he can have Sparrow sign it for me.
Okay, that's a deal.
So
That's a
so
deal
so hopefully I'll see you soon
for
and be able
sure.
to get that done. But it was really in the spirit of that, and I did not know the story of you going around to different record stores looking for his vinyl. I just learned that
Yep, I
today.
got a whole bunch. I got a whole bunch right to the right of me. I'm a hardcore record collector, and I've got them all.
So the irony in all of that, you know what I'm
It
saying?
is, of course. It's
I'm
hey,
telling you.
Asa, I wanted to, are we able to, before we close off here, are we able to mention any of the retail outlets that Sparrow might be available in right now?
Keith, can we mention names or?
Absolutely. It's your
Yeah.
platform, brother. Yeah, it's all
All
you.
right. So we are at Gold Coast Liquors in West Palm Beach, in Airport Liquors, West Palm Beach, Star Liquors, West Palm Beach. We are at Sting's Roti Shop in Lauderhill, and working on a few others that will be announcing pretty soon. So a handful of locations right now, but actively in the market, getting those placements, and most importantly, engaging in the community on every level. So outside of the special events that's coming up in May, and now one that we just added to the calendar for June, but you can expect to see the mighty Sparrow um, in and around the South Florida community very soon.
And of course, those details are on the website.
Great.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Lane, thank you again for the story. Asa, thank you so much for the details and the connection. And we look forward to working with you guys in the near future and getting the word out about the mighty Sparrow XO spiced rum that I absolutely love. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Papa
Thank you,
Keith.
Keith.